Hi, and welcome to the Dream Season podcast, an oral history of the 1989-90 UConn men's basketball season, also known as the Dream Season. This is episode 14, The Shot. After dispatching California in the second round of the NCAA tournament, the 30-5 Huskies advanced to the East Regional Finals, more commonly known as the Sweet 16. The site for the East Regional Finals was the Brendan Byrne Arena at the Meadowlands in East Rutherford, New Jersey. UConn was familiar with the building, as they had defeated Seton Hall there 79-76 on January 13th. This would be UConn's fourth appearance in the Sweet 16, after trips in 1956, 1964, and 1976. This would also be the first ever meeting between UConn and Clemson. The Clemson Tigers were the ACC regular season champions with a record of 26-8. They were ranked number 17 in the final Associated Press poll. Clemson fell to Virginia in the ACC tournament semifinals and earned a 5 seed in the East region of the NCAA tournament. They were making their third trip to the NCAA tournament in the past 4 years. The Tigers faced much more adversity than the Huskies in the first 2 rounds of the tournament. They had snuck past BYU in the first round, 49-47. Clemson shot just 33% for the game and trailed by 7 points with less than 3 minutes left. A missed layup by BYU as time expired allowed the Tigers to advance. In their second round matchup against LaSalle, Clemson trailed by 19 points in the first half, 41-22, before eventually winning 79-75. Led by 6-year head coach Cliff Ellis, the Tigers, like the Huskies, were defined by their defense. However, instead of a relentless press, the Tigers relied on an intimidating presence under the basket. 6'11" senior center Eldon Campbell was joined on the blocks by 6'11" junior forward Dale Davis. The pair, who averaged a combined 32 points and 19 rebounds per game, earned the nickname the Duo of Doom. Besides controlling the boards, the tandem also defended the rim extremely well, with a combined 151 block shots on the season. The Duo of Doom was joined in the front court by 6'7" junior forward Sean Tyson, as well as 2 seniors in the backcourt, point guard Marion Money Cash and Derek Forrest. As evidenced by their first 2 games in the tournament, Clemson demonstrated a knack for the big comeback during the season. They had overcome deficits of 19, 17, 15, 13, and 11 points to win over the course of the year. Rod Sellers, one of UConn's key weapons in trying to neutralize the Duo of Doom, was still nursing his sore left knee. He did not practice on Monday, but did manage some limited practice time on Tuesday and Wednesday. Coach Calhoun was optimistic that he could count on Sellers in some capacity on Thursday. The Huskies had already successfully dealt with a formidable inside presence this season, twice actually, in defeating Georgetown, who featured Alonzo Mourning and Dikembe Mutombo. Said Calhoun, quote, "The key thing for us once again is to continue to put pressure on the backcourt and on the ball the entire 40 minutes so the inside does not become a factor." End quote. The team left for New Jersey after practice on Tuesday. Later Tuesday evening, a lottery was held in Gamble Pavilion to determine which lucky students would be able to purchase some of the 192 student tickets available. For $75, a student would receive a ticket to the Clemson game, as well as the Elite Eight game on Saturday should UConn advance, as well as bus transportation from Stores to East Rutherford. For those who couldn't attend in person, fans could watch the game on a big screen TV in Gamble Pavilion for just $1. On Wednesday, all 4 teams participating in the East Regional Finals, UConn, Clemson, UCLA, and Duke, held an open practice at the Brendan Byrne Arena. Finally, on Thursday, March 22nd, game day had arrived. Here's WFSB's Jerry Brooks and Phil Andrews to preview the matchup.
Tonight, the dream season continues with Clemson standing between UConn and a spot in the Elite Eight. Hi, everybody. I'm Jerry Brooks with the Channel 3 sports team getting set for tonight's Eastern Regional game between the 30-5 UConn Huskies and the 26-8 Clemson Tigers. It's the Big East champs against the ACC champs. Jim Calhoun's team stakes its claim with a steel curtain defense. Let's learn more about Cliff Ellis' squad from Phil Andrews. He's live at the Meadowlands in New Jersey. Phil.
You're absolutely right, Jerry. Both these teams got here by using defense. Of course, UConn's defense, basically the press. They'll pick you blind, whereas Cliff Ellis's team, basically a strong defense. They keep you away from the basket with their big inside men. 2 6'11" guys. You got Dale Davis and Eldon Campbell. For more on tonight's matchup, let's take a look at this tape. If the Clemson Tigers hope to be successful tonight, they must first find a way to penetrate Connecticut's steel curtain defense, and 2, work the ball inside to their appropriately nicknamed Duo of Doom. That is 6'11" forward Dale Davis and 6'11" center Eldon Campbell.
They protect the basket probably about as well as anybody we face, except probably for the 2 kids from Georgetown, Mutombo and Monty. And they not only, I think, protect the basket, they intimidate shots beyond that. Davis particularly gets out to the foul line area and really bothers shots. So I think that the 2 things they do real well, I think that they're wing players, be it Forrest, be it Cash, Young, and so on, put a lot of pressure on you defensively. And when they funnel you into both Davis and Campbell, who both can block shots.
Obviously, with that in mind, Jim Calhoun and company will do whatever they can to maintain a steady perimeter game and try to draw the Duo of Doom from out under the basket.
Basically, I'm going with my same game plan, power inside, and try to play strong on the boards. It's really not going to be anything different. We're going to take it as a regular game.
Unfortunately for Connecticut, a partial tear of the medial collateral ligament in the left knee of 6'9" center Rod Sellers could prevent him from even stepping on the court tonight. So Coach Calhoun hopes to neutralize Clemson's inside game with the help of 7-footer Dan Cerulik and 6'7" freshman Torino Walker.
We'd start with right now Torino, because we'd like to start with we think that Torino at a smaller size, though, gives a smaller team, but gives a better pressing team early, and we'd like to try to get the press in as quick as we possibly can.
Jerry Brooks makes one final prescient point to sports anchor Dave Smith prior to the start of the game.
Dave, if you're into numbers, one thing I noticed is that Clemson is an even poorer foul shooting team than UConn is. They only hit about 61%. That could be key late in the game.
It really could. In the Brigham Young game, one reason it was so close, they missed 16 free throws. And you could do that against BYU, I guess, because they did it and got away with it. You can't do that with UConn. They'll lose, for sure, if they shoot from the line like that.
CBS Sports' Dick Stockton and Hubie Brown set the stage from the Meadowlands.
Connecticut, the new young power in the Big East, who defied all preseason odds by capturing their conference championship. And with textbook efficiency, they have steamrolled through the tournament's early rounds, serving notice that their dream season might be far from over. And good evening, everyone. I'm Dick Stockton. One of the big stories of the entire college basketball season has been the University of Connecticut Huskies. They are 30-5 on the year. No one thought they'd go this far. In fact, they were picked to finish 8th in the Big East when the season started. Jim Calhoun could likely be the coach of the year. They've had a great year. But what about Clemson? They were picked from 5th to 8th in the Atlantic Coast Conference, and they were the regular season champions for the first time in 37 years. An improbable matchup at this time of the year. My partner is Hubie Brown, and Hubie, there is no question whatsoever that the issue today is, can the Clemson Tigers handle a relentless and suffocating full-court pressure by Connecticut?
Well, they have struggled during the season, Dick, but their coach, Cliff Ellis, said that they are going to attack, and they are not going to be passive about this. Once they get the ball over half court, they're attacking and going for the score. Now, when you look at Connecticut, they want to play 94 feet, use 10 guys, wear you down, force a ton of turnovers. They're anchored defensively by the Dove Hennefeld, who just set a new NCAA record for steals for a freshman at 130.
Now, the question is, if Clemson is successful in bringing it across center court, they have the duo of doom, Dale Davis and Eldon Campbell, who are 2 tremendous players. How good are they, Hubie?
Well, they're as good as anyone. You're talking 2 first-round draft picks. Now, from an offensive standpoint, they're the only people who score in double figures. But from a defensive standpoint, the shot blocking, the rebounding, and then to ignite their own fast break. They call them the Doom guys because they funnel everything towards them. It should be an interesting night.
Torino Walker made his first start of the season in place of Rod Sellers. Torino made his presence felt immediately, grabbing a defensive rebound and scoring the first points of the game on the ensuing possession. Poor shooting was the theme early on, as both teams combined to shoot 1 of 11 from the field to begin the game, scoring a combined 5 points over the first 4 minutes. The lead swapped back and forth until the Huskies took a 9-7 lead on a Rod Sellers offensive rebound and putback, with 13 minutes left in the first half. Leading 15-9 with 11:54 left in the half, the UConn press began to rattle Clemson.
All right, Hubie, Connecticut's trapped.
Not only are they tough in the backcourt, but this is where they are really excellent. You'll see as they step out and get this trap, they will seal off the outlet passes.
Connecticut is on a 9-2 run the last 2 minutes, and they've been able to get the ball away from Clemson in the backcourt. And there is a double dribble discontinue against Clemson. That's the 7th turnover against the Tigers.
See, what's happening, Dick, is that there are no set areas for the Clemson guys to be going to. Once they are catching the basketball, they're saying we are going to beat you off the dribble. And in the last 5 minutes, they have not been able to do that.
Eddie George is the point guard. He's in there with Chris Smith. The Priest is in there. And a three-point basket by Chris Smith, leading scorer for the Huskies at 17 a game, and now a 9-point lead. UConn has doubled Clemson.
Over the next 5 minutes of game time, the UConn lead would grow to 12 at 29-17. Clemson then embarked on a 7-0 run to trim the deficit to 5, 29-24, capped off by a Sean Tyson jumper with 3.5 minutes left until halftime. Enter John Gwynn.
Connecticut lead is down to 5, was 12.
And that will really help because that's the second shot that Tyson has made from that side. And then maybe they'll come out and play him a little tighter and open up the inside game.
Clemson is on a 7-0 run right now in the waning minutes of the first half. Gwynn, in and out tip. There's an offensive rebound by DePriest. Sellers and Gwynn. There's Gwynn again. And there it is. Great hustle by John Gwynn, averaging 11 a game. He's got 7 points off the bench for UConn. Clemson now has a 3-on-2. Tyson very nearly turned it over. Davis misses the layup, and there was a great opportunity for Clemson. They've got it again. Howling. Can't get a better opportunity than that.
Now you can't. The opportunity, the wide open shots have been there, plus the foul line.
Once again, it's John Gwynn with 9 points, and the UConn bench has outscored Clemson 17-5. They up the lead again to 9.
And dilly-dally back there.
And they didn't make it over. The 10-second violation called against Clemson. Turns it over to UConn.
After Gwynn's back-to-back hoops pushed the UConn lead back up to 9, Chris Smith tacked on 5 of his team-leading 13 first-half points to give the Huskies a 38-29 lead heading into halftime. The UConn defense forced 16 Clemson turnovers in the half, which equaled Clemson's season average for turnovers for an entire game. The Huskies and Chris Smith did not suffer a letdown at the start of the second half.
When Howling misses a 3, Burrell gets the rebound for Connecticut. Tate George is able to get inside for layups in the first half. Chris Smith hits another 3-point basket. That's his 3rd of the game, and he's got 16.
See, with Clemson lumbering back on defense, anytime a Connecticut player penetrates the circle, they can kick the ball out. Guys have been wide open all game, Dick.
They give Smith the open shot. The basket is good. And a foul, a 3-point shot could turn into a 4-point play.
How about that for great floor coverage? That was an outstanding pick. The defensive player pushed the pick right down to the floor, and it just opened up the shooter even for more time.
UConn led 50-35 after Smith's 4th three-pointer of the game. And they weren't done. Scott Burrell sank 2 free throws to push the lead to 16 at 56-40 with 13:20 left.
Burrell averaging 8 on the year, now has 8 points. And the lead is 16, biggest of the game. Plenty of time, 13:20 to go, but Clemson has given no indication they're going to make inroads on Connecticut in this second half.
Well, if you continue to play 5 offensive players in the backcourt against a full-court trap, well, then you're not going to get any easy layups at the other end because Connecticut is so quick with their feet in covering the ground.
Shortly after, Clemson's Dale Davis was called for a technical foul for shoving Murray Williams out of frustration. Chris Smith made both free throws, and when Scott Burrell made 1 of 2 free throws with 12 minutes and 36 seconds left in the game, UConn led by 19, 59-40.
And UB Brown, here is the story, and the number 1 number is the big one, the offensive rebound, UB.
I've got a big surprise in this ball game up to date. We realized that the UConn press would be dynamite, and Clemson has turned the ball over 18 times, and it's led to many fast breaks. And then also another somewhat surprise is the outstanding outside three-point shooting of Connecticut up to date.
Despite the deficit and all of the momentum on UConn's side, the Tigers weren't hanging their heads. They chipped away over the next few minutes, climbing to within 15.
Now you're Clemson, Dick. You have a little less than 9 minutes to go in this game. You're down 15, but on the next UConn foul, you're shooting the penalty. So, this isn't something that they could not get done here, but they must start turning the ball over in the UConn in the backcourt or forcing them into some bad shots now so they can get out in the open floor.
With 4:59 left in the game, UConn led by 12, 67-55. Stockton and Brown reminded the viewers about Clemson's penchant for making the big comeback.
What you were talking about before, Hubie, the deficit that the Tigers have faced and have come back to win all 4 of those, including their last game against LaSalle.
Well, Cliff Ellis feels so sure that they can come back on you, from their defensive standpoint. He knows he's got a poor shooting ball club, and they have done it so many times that they almost expect that they're going to do it.
After 2 Clemson free throws, the Tigers began to increase the tension for the Huskies and their fans.
10-point game now, 67-57, and now Clemson's full court traffic.
First time, a 1-2-1-1. You must take it down and score.
And it was deflected by Campbell, and it's going to be Clemson's ball, and the Tigers are on a 17-9 run. Wayne Buckingham, wake up. This could be a good game before it's over.
There you go. You don't get cute when you're on a 2-on-1 fast break. You make the easy pass.
4 minutes and 40 seconds now remaining in the game. UConn was up by as many as 19. 9 points have been shaved off of the lead. Howling hits a three-point basket to cut it to 7. And Clemson is doing it again in a timeout called by UConn. So the excitement picks up here at the Meadowlands. 67-60 our score.
The Tigers weren't done.
Connecticut led by 19 in the second half, but a tremendous burst by Clemson. A 23-9 run in the last 9 minutes has brought them to within 4.
Everything is dictated, Dick, by the full court 1-2-1-1 trap, and also when they get into the half-court trap.
St. George in the lane. Loses the ball, and the pass has shot it. 2-on-1 break, and Forrest lays it in. Derek Forrest, and it's 67-65, and Connecticut's the team rattled right now.
With 3:28 left, Tate George made 2 free throws to bump the lead back up to 4, 69-65. After a Clemson miss, UConn regained possession and worked the clock. Rod Sellers was fouled with 2:54 left, but missed the front end of a 1-and-1, and the Tigers controlled the rebound. On Clemson's next possession, Dale Davis tapped in a missed 3-point attempt to make the score UConn 69, Clemson 67, with 2:30 remaining in the game. Following a UConn timeout, the Huskies once again milked the clock, with Nadav Hennefeld attempting a 3-pointer with 2 seconds left on the shot clock. Hennefeld's shot missed badly, and Clemson regained possession with 1:40 left. The active 2-3 zone by UConn prevented Clemson from having a good look at a shot until Marion Cash attempted a 3-pointer with 2 seconds left on the shot clock. Tate George defended Cash perfectly and blocked the shot out of bounds. The result? Clemson retained possession with 59 seconds left in the game and had a fresh 45 seconds on the shot clock. Prior to 1991, the shot clock would reset after any shot attempt by the shooter.
Now this is interesting that they're running time here. I would think that they would go down inside.
Especially with the offensive rebounding possibility.
All right, right now, UConn is in a 2-3, very aggressive zone.
Young, inside, they surround the big man, Davis, and Davis stepped on the line and turns it over to Connecticut.
Well, that has been their thing all night. Their Cliff Ellis looking for a timeout. Anytime you drive the baseline, there have been 3 shirts on you all game long.
After the Clemson turnover, it was UConn's ball with 21.3 seconds left. Hennefeld looked to inbound the ball under the Clemson basket.
What does Clemson want to do?
Well, they got to play tough defense, try for the steal. If you don't get it, go for the foul. Now UConn wants to spread them out.
They nearly got the steal.
Wow.
It came oh so close right in front of the Clemson bench. And now they've changed it. It's Clemson's ball.
Hennefeld's pass was deflected out of bounds, and after a brief discussion, The officials awarded the ball to Clemson with 17.5 seconds remaining, and the score still UConn 69, Clemson 67.
Now let's look at Clemson. Clemson taking this ball out of bounds. You know there's 17 seconds to go. There's plenty of time. But what you want to do is go inside, make them play you, then come back out. And then that should open up some outside perimeter shooting.
David Young has come in, and there are now 3 guards in there for Clemson with 17 and a half seconds left, plus Davis and Campbell.
Now right now, UConn is giving away a lot of size down inside. And like we say, you've got Elton Campbell at 6'11" and Dale Davis at 6'11". NFL being the tallest.
And here's David Young with a 3-point basket. And Clemson leads by 1. And Connecticut will call a timeout. Clemson leads for the first time since the early going.
David Young inbounded the ball, and shortly after stepping onto the court, received the pass back and drained a wide-open three-pointer directly in front of Clemson's bench to give the Tigers the improbable 70-69 lead. Young's three-pointer capped off a 30-10 Clemson run over the final 12 minutes and 25 seconds. UConn promptly called timeout, stopping the clock with 11.3 seconds remaining.
The last Clemson lead was at 5-4, and now Connecticut has to go the length of the floor, trailing by 1.
But right now, Clemson is in a 1-3-1 at three-quarter court. Now, the reason why you get in this is so that you can get 2 guys on any dribbler. It'll be interesting to see how UConn attacks.
Hennefeld and Smith bring it up. Tate George with the ball. Tate George fakes at the top of the key, goes up with it. It's short. Knocked around. Rebound. Tyson of Clemson with 1 second and a foul against Burrell, and Clemson can wrap it up on the line. What an improbable turnaround, but if you've been following the Tigers, nothing unusual.
Tate George had an open 16-footer from the right elbow, but missed it short. Clemson's Sean Tyson grabbed the rebound and was immediately fouled by Scott Burrell, stopping the clock with 1.6 seconds left. Tyson, a 61% free throw shooter on the season, went to the line to shoot a 1-and-1 and with a chance to put Clemson up by 3.
So Sean Tyson, who lost 30 pounds after gallbladder surgery and missed last season, but one of the better free throw shooters at 75% on the line. And a timeout with exactly 1 second to go. That's the last timeout used by UConn.
Here's Tyson recalling his thought process as he stepped to the line.
In that moment, I was thinking about a big moment on a big stage, and this was my thing. As I got the ball and I looked across at the scores table, and I saw a referee who called. He was at the scores clock. Barnett, he's from Baltimore. He was a high-level referee in Baltimore, but had gotten his first assignment in the East, in the league in that game. When I saw him, I saw everything Baltimore. I saw the line, and that's what I saw, man. In that moment, behind the backboard, the moment in my mind that this is the big stage. Barnett, a guy I grew up since I was 10 years old calling games in Baltimore. Now he's on the big stage at the East Regional thing, and Howard Garfinkel was over here to my right, who was my five-star guy. And it's just in that moment, man. Like in that moment, it was just time to slow down. And had I captured the moment, like they say in the Dead Poet Society, or if I'd have, those are the things that I now instill in kids as I teach and go through. The magic moment can happen at any time. Just crystallize the moment, seize the day, understand what you need to do, because this is a real moment.
When Scott Burrell grabbed the miss and called timeout, he yelled loud enough to be heard back in stores.
I remember Scott grabbing the rebound, and I remember how quiet it was in that gym, because that was the loudest timeout ever. Like, he was so loud calling it. Timeout!
I can still remember hearing it on the tape that he misses the free throw, and Burrell goes up and gets the rebound and yells, "Timeout! Timeout!" You can hear it on the tape.
And you can hear at the top of his lungs, Scotty hollering, "Timeout."
Following the UConn timeout, Clemson also took a timeout. On the UConn sidelines, Jim Calhoun was the lone positive voice in an ocean of doubt. Here's Calhoun, Tate, Scott, and Smitty from 1990.
It was maybe in many senses a a tremendous letdown as the kids come over to the bench.
When we came to the bench, I guess the only guy who really believed was Coach.
You can win this thing. You're going to win this thing. There's no way we're coming out of this thing without a win.
Our coach had a lot of faith. He thought the game wasn't over yet. We still have 1 second, he kept saying. I thought the game was over myself.
It's our game. All we have to do is get the ball, either Tater John on the sprint pattern. We'll be just fine.
He just kept telling us there's a lot of time left and we can win this game, and he really believed that.
We'll be just fine. He kept saying it, and I repeated that.
Chris Smith.
You know, I'm thinking that this thing may be over. You want to say that everybody has confidence and we're going to win this game. Only person that really probably had it was Calhoun. Calhoun, he's always optimistic. We're going to win this. We're going to do it. I'm like, we're at the other end of the court, man. There's no way we're going to hit this shot.
It wasn't just the players who were fearing the worst. UConn fans everywhere, as well as radio play-by-play broadcasters. Here's Bob Usler.
Well, here's what I thought. I thought it can't end like this. It can't. This is not the way it's supposed to end. In fact, I might have said that to Wayne, off the air before we came back out after the timeout. I might have said it can't end like this. This is not how it's supposed to be. So I remember that. I mean, look, the odds were against them. So I'd be foolish to tell you right now that I thought they could pull it off. You hear the stories that Jim Calhoun thought they could, and that makes a difference. When the coach keeps telling you, we can do this, that makes a difference. And obviously, that was part of the winning equation. But no, I just kept thinking, not so much they can't do it. It's like it can't end like this. It just can't. It just didn't seem right. It's not like Clemson was not a worthy opponent in terms of the team that should end it for UConn. Because, again, the dream season wasn't something that it was the dream season then. I mean, it was like, this is unbelievable. We're in the middle of a dream season. It's not like somebody coined that after it was the dream season all year and special stuff is happening. And to have blown a big lead against Clemson was just like, what? No way. So, yeah, I was not thinking either way. Okay, they're going to win, they're going to lose. I was just thinking, no, not like this.
Assistant coach Dave Lato.
So we were still, I know I was a little bit in shell shock mode from losing. This guy never thought we were going to lose the game, up by 19. And even if they can't, not going to lose. And mostly because during the course of the season, when we were in timeouts, when we needed a stop, 100% of the time we got to stop. And we knew that, if they can't score, they can't win. So they make the shot, they go up, like, oh my goodness. And so the first thing that happened, 1 second left, we come to the timeout. Jim said, we're going to win this game. Don't worry, guys, we're going to win this game. And I think it uplifted everybody in that circle because most of us were in some kind of shell shock mode about what had just happened. And so I don't know if I even connected to, are we going to win? Are we going to lose? Whatever. It was like he just empowered the whole operation.
In the Clemson huddle, cautious optimism abounded due to the seemingly insurmountable odds that faced the Huskies. Here's Sean Tyson.
That's exactly what we thought. It's like, you got to go the whole distance. You got to hit a shot. You got to catch it and do that all in 1 second.
All right, now they have Campbell on the ball right now, and everyone else is matched up.
Scott Burrell will inbound, and he's got Burrell at 6'5", facing 6'11" Campbell.
Well, I tell you, Marion Cass has just left Chris Smith here. Now, I don't know whether they're enticing a pass to Chris Smith, but he's standing right in front of half court here. No one playing him. Maybe this is a con. Let's see what happens.
Now we're ready to go. Here goes the long pass with 1 second to go. The shot. Yes! The shot's going to count. The shot by Tate George wins it. The whole turn of events. One way and then the other. Tate George wins it with a jumper. They went the length of the court and won it with 1 second to play, Hubie.
Not only the shot, but the fact that he caught the pass in traffic.
There's his mom, Erica, looks to be in tears. Caught it in traffic and his back was to the basket.
Landed, turned, and let it fly.
Tate George, Connecticut will advance to the regional final on an amazing shot.
Scott Burrell, with his Major League Baseball powered arm and the accuracy of an NFL All-Pro quarterback, threw a perfect pass to Tate George, who managed to run a corner route to get open, catch the pass, turn around and shoot the ball just in time to beat the buzzer and drain the shot to give the Huskies the miraculous victory.
You know, Sean Tyson didn't want to foul and didn't put his hands up, didn't want to come close. Never thought Tate George could hit that shot. But he did, and Connecticut wins 71-70.
Here's Tyson again on his defensive philosophy during that last second.
You see me go towards it, but what's in my mind is this. Again, we're in the Meadowlands. And I know this because, again, growing up from Baltimore, Tate's from New Jersey. I know that. And I know he's a senior. And I know he's been great in the Big East and played for him. And my thing is, if I rush over there and get anywhere near to him and touch him, you know, it's going to be a foul. Either way, I could. That's game in game saying, okay, just go, don't go all the way, and don't go anywhere where you can touch him. He's a senior. He's in New Jersey. This is his last hoorah. He's borderline draft pick. You know, just could make or break him at the moment. You know what I mean? So all this, again, being someone who played at a level at Dunbar, played in games that were heavy in the summer, knew the situation like a kid like him at home, and you going to him could end up in a situation that I would say I was a little bit ahead, thinking don't rush over there and accidentally run into the kid and foul him on the free throw line. You could never live that down if they won a game on the free throw line. That's what you saw, and when you see the hesitation to go and just all out try to look for a block shot, it's just the hands up. That's what you saw in that moment, because no one else probably on our team thought about this, but Tate is from New Jersey, you know, and I knew that. I knew we were in the Meadowlands. I knew that it was, you know, it could be questionable if it came down to question, he would get that day just in pure energy and everything that he had done at UConn and his culmination of his career and what he needed. And how about this? The blessing was that he needed to get that, to get where he needed to go in the league. And I needed to understand, I still was a junior, that more days like this could come. And you need to be ready for it and embrace the big moment. And that's the afterthought to try to heal myself and understand that was a play I could have made, but didn't want to risk it.
Hubie and Dick catch up with Smitty, Tate, and Coach immediately following the game.
Jim, the feeling.
Elation. We just played so well for 30 minutes, and then we became 10 for 10, and Clemson takes advantage of it, and then we run a home run, and Tate finished off a terrific, not only a great catch, but a great square up and not panic and shoots the ball.
Let me ask you, did you ad-lib that play, or is that something you practice?
That's called home run. We run it every single day in practice. I don't know if under quite the same circumstances, but it's something we work on every day.
You got to give Clemson their due. They came back. They got you to stand around. What's going through the minds of the team on the bench and also on the floor?
Well, like Coach said, I think we lost our composure, and they put a press on us that really hurt us. But we had to just keep our poise and just go out and let things happen. And it ended up with a great win with Tate George in the last shot.
All right, how about the man who made the last shot, Tate George? Phenomenal. Just tell me what you were thinking about. You knew there was 1 second left. Describe it.
Well, I knew I missed the first time around. It couldn't get much closer than that. And I was telling Scotty Burrell to hit me in a corner because they weren't going to foul us. And it felt good when they left my hand. So, I'm happy it went in.
How did you feel when Clemson took the lead after you really thoroughly dominated them throughout the game?
Well, Clemson gets a lot of credit. Hats off to them. But the thing that we've been doing all year is battling back and trying to answer the call. And with a young team that we have, we've come a long way, and it feels really good.
Have you seen anything like that before, Jim, in your career?
Not really, Dick. Not the point that a team, sometimes in the middle of the game you'll lose composure, but for 10 minutes to kind of stand around and then be able to still respond with a big play at the end, phenomenal, really. And I give Clemson all the credit. Tremendous job by Clemson.
All right, thank you very much. Connecticut moves to the regional final. Let's send you back to Jim Nance. Jim?
Here's Wayne Norman talking to Rod Sellers, Scott Burrell, and Tate George immediately after the game.
Rod, what was that last play supposed to be? It was the baseball pass. We designed it. We go over it every day in practice. At the end of practice, we always run our home run play. And, it was supposed to be for Nadal or Smitty, but Tate got the shot. He said he wanted it because he missed a shot just a while ago. Great shot, great win.
How's your knee feel?
That feels pretty good.
First time you thought about it since the shot, right?
Yeah.
Thanks. Here he is, the man who gets an assist. Is that the prettiest assist of your collegiate basketball career?
Yeah, it is, and hopefully it's going to be the last one. I really do. Like that, I mean.
What do they call in the huddle?
Just a home run play. We knew we had to get the ball down deep with 1 second left, and we got it real close to the basket, and Tate just had a great shot and made it.
They covered Tate pretty well. Did you think he'd get the shot off?
Yeah, I saw him cutting, so I knew he beat the guy to the spot. So I knew I had to get the ball there and hopefully get off a shot.
Has that play been in the book all year long, or is it something new?
We've been working on home run just recently, matter of fact, and I don't know, it came in today.
19-point lead. You know these guys come back all the time. Did you think they'd catch up?
Yeah, I did. I knew we stopped playing. We weren't playing hard the second half at the end. And, I knew they would come back at one time or another, and they just did near the end of the game.
Would you think you could have got a career high in rebounds against a front line like that?
I was just playing hard, working hard, I knew they rebounded well, and I just knew I had to stop them from getting easy rebounds, boxing out, and trying to control the boards.
Final 8. How's it sound?
Sounds great. Hopefully win one more at least, and at least get to Denver.
Well, first of all, on behalf of the team, I'd like to say hello to everyone at Stores and who's watching the game and is probably going bonkers. But we appreciate all the support from them and from the state, and hopefully we can ride this wave a long way.
How about all the people in Connecticut who are jumping on the Husky bandwagon right now?
Well, it's pretty full. I don't think we can get too many more people on it, but the people that are waiting for someone to jump off, we invite them too to maybe get another bus and keep on going with us.
Great.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
So we can get along.
You told me 4 years ago your nickname in high school was Magic. Is this what it was all about?
Definitely. You know, it's a shot that went in for me, and I'm happy that it did.
How much have you practiced that shot? I mean, is it something that's part of your regular arsenal, or you just save it for emergencies?
Well, it's a little closer into the basket and falling away, and most of the time it's Smitty and John and the dub that takes that shot, but it worked out for me, and you know, I'm sure I'm going to work on it.
If you run that play 10 times, how many times do you hit that shot?
Probably about 50%. You know, I was shocked that they let me get the shot off, and it worked out for us.
How about what was going through your mind after you missed the prior shot, the one that fell off the front of the rim?
I thought it was over. You know, that's been my best shot. You know, that foul line and end, and it rimmed off, and just first thing ran in my mind. It's been a great career, and too bad it had to end this way.
You call it the home run ball. Now, were you the intended receiver all the way?
Well, at first, it was, like I said, the other three guys, and Smitty and the Dove and Gwen, but I told Scotty to throw me the ball in the corner, and kind of like want to redeem myself and won the ball, figuring, hey, you know, all these guys can come back. I can't, so I thought it was fitting that I had the ball and I made the shot.
6 minutes to go. Your jumper gives you kind of 14-point lead. Then what happened?
I think the freshmen finally found themselves being freshmen, if anything. The guys, for the first time in maybe 20, 30 games, you know, the ball started going through guys' legs, and even I messed up. Everything that went wrong. And we didn't yell at each other. It's just a matter that, you know, surprise. No one really makes a run at us the way this team has, but we were surprised.
What goes through your mind as the ball swishes through? What do you do, and what are you thinking about?
Well, I had to look around Tyson to see if it went in, but my first thing from past experiences after winning NIT and the Big East Championship was grab somebody big and hold on, because, you know, people start to smack you and push you, and before you know it, you know, you're on the floor. So I just tried to grab Dan and just hold on, and he let go, and I grabbed Smitty.
It's big enough to make a shot like that in the Sweet 16, but I mean, in your own backyard, does it get better than this?
Well, I would rather have done it anywhere. I mean, it's nice to see my parents get a chance to watch me play, but more than anything, I'm just happy for the team. You know, it could have been in Dallas, it could have been in Alaska, anywhere. I just wanted us to win.
Have you spoken with Erica since the shot?
I'm on my way.
UConn's Director of Athletics Communications, Tim Tolikin, recalls the lack of discussion regarding the timing of Tate's shot.
I think one of the things after the game was over, Matt, that I was probably most surprised at, that there might not have been more bitching, that all that could have happened. Again, you don't take Scotty's part of it because the clock can't be running when that's going on, but the catch, the turn, the shoot, and yet there wasn't, Clemson, and they were shell-shocked, and maybe they didn't believe that much could happen in 1 second, but it wasn't. I think now probably if that had happened, you probably would see a lot more angst by the team that it happened to.
CBS Sports' Jim Nance and Mike Francesa explained to viewers after the game why the shot was good.
Mike, let's talk about the rules. Officially, when is a game over?
The game's not over. Don't watch the clock. Don't watch the light above the basket. The game is over when the horn sounds.
All right, folks, what we're going to do now, we're going to delete the play-by-play call. Listen closely for the buzzer on the game's final play. Clearly there, it appeared the buzzer went off in midair on the shot. We have been flooded with phone calls tonight, especially from the Carolina area. And one more time, just to convince everyone that this was a clean victory by Connecticut.
Jim Calhoun agrees.
I'm not that accurate, but I just think probably about 100% it was good. Within that range, 100, 101%, it was probably good. That's about I'm just giving you a ballpark figure.
There were also two fantastic radio broadcasts of the final play. The first comes from the Yukon radio station, WHUS. John Tewitt and Andrew Das with the final call.
All right, it's handed to Burrell. 1 second to go. Tries the home run pass for Tate George. Makes the catch. Shoots at the buzzer. Yes! Doesn't count. It's over. UConn wins. UConn does it. What a miracle. It's a miracle shot. Tate George at the buzzer, and it's all over. The most incredible ending. UConn wins. Unbelievable. UConn needed a miracle, and it was answered. The UConn fans were in a frenzy. Hearts all over the place. People dancing in the aisles. The most stupendous, improbable finish. My heart was down in my throat. I thought it was over. Tate George made the catch, turned and fired, and atoned himself for missing.
As great as John and Andrew's call is, the more iconic call, and the one that is heard more often all these years later, is from Bob Usler of the Connecticut Radio Network.
1 second left. Burrell takes the ball, looking inbound, loops it far up court for George, who catches it, turns around, shoots, and he got it! He hit it! He hit the shot! And the Huskies have won it! The Huskies have won it! George hits the shot from the right side of the lane! And UConn wins it 71-70! Scott Burrell, the baseball team's waiting for him. And right there, he showed why. Burrell, with the strong right arm, threw an 85-foot pass to Tate George, who caught it right side of the lane, put up what we'd say to be a 15 to 17-footer, and beat the buzzer, and UConn wins it by a point, and they're one win away from the Final Four. Again, the final score, UConn 71, Clemson 70, an incredible finish at the Meadowlands. We'll be back with more after we pause for this message from our local stations on the Connecticut Radio Network.
Bob's partner on the air, Wayne Norman, recalls the moment.
I'm a big guy. Bob's taller than I am. And Bob's call, which is well known, I'm sure most people who've gotten this far into this podcast have heard that call more than once, is exquisite. Marty Glickman had to be proud of what Bob Huster did. His call was played all around the world the next morning. It starts off with the desperation. He didn't say it, but he's thinking, we just blew a 19-point lead in the Sweet 16. And this season that's been so special is about to end. So he's calling the play-by-play. And again, with that desperation sound, he says, just 1 second left. Burrell takes the ball, loops it far down court for George, who catches it, spins it, and all of a sudden, it's like somebody flipped a switch. I have a philosophy of being a color analyst, which some of my cohorts don't do. When you got a big moment like that, Kemba Walker's shot, Rip Hamilton's shot, Rashad Anderson's shot, UConn fans know what I'm talking about. But anyway, when a big moment like that happens, keep my mouth shut. It doesn't help the call at all if I start whooping it up or going, oh my God, things like that. Too many color guys do that in all sports, but I don't do that. Bob has thanked me many times for allowing him to shine in that moment. I got my moment. Once it's over, I can recap the play and talk about what happened and so forth. But the way his emotion changed in that call from the desperation of just 1 second left to he got it, he hit it, was just tremendous.
Bob looks back on one of the defining moments of his illustrious career.
Everything was lining up in terms of comfortability, if I could use that word. Sit down, ready for, you know this team now like the back of your hand. And then you get to that moment where the shot arrives. And I circle back to that location being a big part of being able to at least see the play completely unfold. And then, the other thing, about it being a good call, Matt, every broadcaster will tell you this. If you do it long enough, you're going to get those opportunities to call a big moment. And luck takes over too. You just have to hope that you get everything right. And so luck was on my side. I got everything pretty right. And the one thing I can tell you that did catch me by surprise was the immediate reaction to the call, because this is the truth. I drove home that night and I remember thinking, this is the truth. Did you make a fool of yourself? Because I went so over the top with the call that sometimes you think, well, it just, it sounded ridiculous. The rhetorical question, does that sound too ridiculous? Because I know my voice rose and I got excited. But when I listen back to the call now, I understand a couple of things. One is that my change of tone, meaning I went from despair to exhilaration in that second plus of the play. So if you're a fan, you're feeling what I'm feeling. You're feeling that despair. And if you're a fan, you hear the exhilaration, and you're feeling that. So you relate to that. It's like you became that person and you were able to describe it. Okay, boom, pass, catch, shot, good, celebration. And I got the score on somehow too. Wow, you even got, at that point, you're like, wow, okay, yeah, now it's pandemonium, and you're like, what just happened? But getting back to what I was saying about going home that night, I'm like, man, did you make a fool of yourself or not? And just mulling it over. And I had my clock radio set to wake up pretty early, actually, because it was a late night. And this is the truth. I think it was set to a WPLR in New Haven, a rock music station. Might have been Smith and Barber. Then I don't know who the morning team was, regardless. And when the alarm went off, my call was what I heard. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. And then the phone started ringing, and the Connecticut Radio Network was telling me, getting a lot of requests for your call. And I'm like, okay, I guess people like the call. I guess history has proven that, I didn't make a fool of myself.
Tim Tolican again.
The call by Bob Huesler versus Dick Stockton on CBS. I mean, the call by Bob Huesler, I think one of the greatest calls, I think, in NCAA play on buzzer beater type things.
Scott Burrell tried his best to recreate Bob's call.
1 second left. Burrell takes the ball, loops it far down court to George, who catches it, turns, and he hit it. He hit it. George hit the shot from the right side of the lane, and UConn wins 71-70.
Jim Calhoun reflects on the Clemson comeback and the play that defined the season.
We were playing so well during that game to build up the 19-point lead. And with two pros, Campbell and the other big kid, they were good. They were really good. And I still can see, as he become a good friend, Cliff's look on his face when it happened. He's kind of like, how'd that happen? But, I think it's a game that we played as good as we're going to play, and then probably as bad as we're going to play. And then, it became 1 second, and Scotty's going to take it out and pass to Tate George. And everybody said, what did Coach say? Coach said that we're going to run home run 1. Home run 1 means we had home run 4, 3, 2, 1, depending upon the seconds of how much time you had. And we had done it every day. And I always remember Scotty Burrell saying, well, we ran home run 1, like everybody's supposed to know that. It was a particular play with the cross, and he had 2 different choices to throw. Now, you have a guy who ends up being a first-round draft choice, Ted George, and a first-round baseball pitcher, you're going to have a good play. and Scotty threw that right in the money, in the ball in the hole. And from that, it was one of the more emotional times I think the States have had. You know, how many times I've been asked to describe that play? Yeah, what I think happened the best of all this, and I loved all of it, obviously. It was hard work, et cetera, but that's okay. It's just the emotion of the state. I mean, you know, when that shot went in, you know, I was talking to people that had a nursing home, and all of a sudden they were getting warnings on blood pressure and things on the monitors. And just things, people still remember certain things that happened. And it was a magical moment, certainly for us and for basketball.
Finally, here's Tate George.
It's been a dream. It's been a dream season, you know, and maybe the man upstairs didn't want us to pack it in yet, you know, and it came down to that big shot.
Coming up on the next episode of the Dream Season podcast, the Huskies are just 1 win away from advancing to the Final Four. Standing in their way, the Duke Blue Devils. The Dream Season podcast is researched, written, and produced by me, Matt Edwards. Written sources for this episode are the Hartford Courant Archives. Audio content is from interviews that I conducted, YouTube, and Wayne Norman's archives. You can connect with the show via Twitter and Instagram at Dream Season Pod. If you have any memories to share about anything I just mentioned, want to correct me on something I screwed up, or just have general feedback to give, send me an email at dreamseasonpod@gmail.com or call and leave me a message at 903-884-8990. After I'm done with the regular episodes of the show, I'd love to have at least one episode that consists entirely of your memories of the Dream Season. Either leave me a message at the above number or email me with an audio recording of your recollections, along with your name and location, and I will include them in that episode. As always, thank you so much for listening.